Hi. Okay, so today I'm going to share with you guys, about, these guys, Iman Gatsi, Sebastian, Stephen Graham. Was it Stephen Graham? Oh, Graham Stefan. Sorry, I butchered the name. Graham Stefan. Right. So, what am I dealing with here? Okay. Extremely YouTubers. Is it actually controversial? Yeah, I guess it is. But okay, let me explain what exactly is going on here. Because I don't think they were being scams. I don't think that is probably the last one you label them. Like, they are not scammers. This is the last one you should label them as. I think their work ethic is pretty good actually. So let me explain. I personally believe why this is concerning and sets off alarms and alarm bells for an alternate reality Stefanovic, some of his viewers and myself included, and I want to rebuke Mr. Cherry Days here. It's because that it is less about where their money source is from and more about how they map out where their generational wealth should be spent. Yes, 25 million in ad 22 doesn't mean that you're a scammer, right? I don't think people should have that kind of assumption. Or how to put it? It is more of a wrong line of reasoning. Let me explain further. But I think it would be nice if these guys have a reality check. It would be better. Is that no matter how much money you have, you can make your desires satisfied. You can only keep feeding it and feeding it. And the more you feed it, the more it asks. I mean, just look at Miss Maria Carey's bank account. What does it tells us, right? It means that even if you do have the wealth that is comparable to unlimited money, you are, at the end of the day, helpless in making desires satisfied. Whether it's tasting a turkey, having a huge swimming pool with only yourself and no other people in it, having a good car, massages, or having popsicles. It's like ordering a roasted chicken to international services. Even with that, unlimited money still cannot remove the waiting time completely. And when you do finally taste the roasted chicken, it will still not be enough. You either can get bad products, you want more of it, or the satisfaction fades over time. I personally think that too much money is a poison for anybody, because not only because you might incur an abundant amount of wrong views within your mind because of the way you hoard money, but also because either in the process of earning that same money, or after you got it, the frequency of negligence on the needy's basic needs will end up land these people in to be reborn in hell in the future. And some people might think this is superstition, but I have a recent incident to prove it. Let me try to share with you guys. So the other day, like 2 days ago, I was trying to make videos and trying to get monetized, right? Approve of getting monetized and stuff. And my pet dog was, our family pet dog was being extremely noisy that day. It was unusually noisy, right? I tried to like even move the boxes, and then she just kept barking towards inside of the house, right? The door was wide open, so I can still hear it despite being on the second floor, so it was very, very difficult to concentrate. I was, to say the least, having curse words about our pet dog, and I was having dark insistent thoughts like repeatedly about beating my pet dog to death, which again, please don't follow through. I don't encourage it. It's just really annoying at the time because she would just keep barking and barking and on for a few hours, like 4 or 5 hours every day. So that ended up being very, very extremely annoying. So what happens is that same night I had a really, weird nightmare. I might share with my dad as well. It's like I was trying to escape from a abduction home, and then when I tried to like when on the way of escaping, I ended up I thought because maybe front of the house it was like a lot of traps and something. It's like help us to escape through the front of the house. The back of the house is like a cliff or a canyon, a steep canyon, and I have some sort of a rope. I suddenly was being transported to the back of the cliff, and then I was constantly fearing my life was being taken away, right? Because I was keeping climbing down the steep canyon, right, consistently, very carefully, right? I was afraid of like suddenly fall to my death. So I think that gave me a speculation that it probably is real, the hell is real, and that negative actions do indeed have repercussions. Now, I'm not saying that you should humiliate yourself when it comes to your physical comfort or contentment, or that you should just not visualize yourself being successful whatsoever. But I think it's very, very, very important that you don't want to get obsessed with either money, which is like something you cannot control, right? Right? It's like how I said in some of my videos in my other channels, like the Buddhism channel, the astrology channel, right? You can't control money, or your self-image projected outside towards the world, but you can control. What you can control is anger management, right? It's kind of like mastery of the mind. It's not to say not get upset, it's to not get upset and then let it overtake you so that you make worse decisions. I think that's important, right? It's about anger management, wisdom, integrity, meditation, right? And I don't mean meditation just in meditate, right? I mean meditation as in not dependent on physical stimulus and have jhanas. I think that's a very key distinction to draw the boundary. Where am I actually? So this proved that obsessing over money to the point where you actively stop cherishing life, even just being negligent to your own subtle body language, is enough to have actual consequences, right? It's about the timing as well, but they will have consequences in the future. It's not always going to be immediate or in the immediate next afterlife, but there will be consequences eventually. So it's best to be very cautious about our actions, even towards the more menial ones and more insignificant actions. I think that's important, right? It's not even about it's not even about what is it, donating a lot, right? I get that businesses can need much money. Okay, let me say, yours truly doesn't need that much, right? Me myself, for example, if someone like, I will be very happy, because I think it's also important if we want to demand sponsorships, right? I want to demand sponsorships. I should not be obsessed over demanding as much money as possible from the other person. But I think it's important for me. I think it's reasonable for me to, let's say demand how much exactly? Okay, how much is this? 2%. Yeah, $502.13 nickels. The bucks, $502. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's even a very unreasonable demand to ask for 502 bucks and 13 pennies. Is that 13 pennies? 0.13. Okay, 502.13 bucks, right? From a person, just a sponsor, right? Just every month. I wouldn't even actually ask more. I am pretty content with just 2,000 Malaysian ringgit. That's it, because I wanted to make sure I can stay alive and then to actually develop my own kind of high work ethic skill for myself, right? I'm not a person. I decide not to be a person to have unreasonable demands about myself anymore. But I think it's not outrageous to demand a little bit of money just to make sure I survive decently, right? Because now I feel like I cannot survive any well, right? Not even decently. So that's my opinion. Now, in fairness, I do think those haters, those who say Iman Katsi, Sebastian Georgiou, Graham Stefan, and Jordan Welch are scammers, what they say is indeed wrong and even outrageous and should be considered illegitimate defamation. That is true. I'm not going to deny that. That is a fair concern. But I do also think that the concern from the haters is somewhat valid. Just probably on the wrong reasons. Not because Mr. Iman, Sebastian, Graham, and Jordan are scammers. Even though, would it be nice to learn earlier from them, like actually what skills are considered high work ethic for me personally, right? It's like personalized advice, right? Would it be nice? Yeah, it would be better, right? I mean, their advices ultimately didn't really have any meaningful or beneficial to help me in my journey, right? Or what is actually my high working for themselves, right? But I don't think they are scammers, right? But rather it's the actions they did or not did or still not do after they obtain more than enough wealth. Those actions are what concern me, not how they earn their money. Their money is pretty fine. If the afterwards actions that tells people clearly that you are valuing money and physical comfort and stimulus so obsessively, even to the point or stage of actively neglecting people's suffering or basic needs, basically signals to the viewers, right, whether it's your supporters or the haters, that there is something deeper and something somewhat wrong with these YouTubers, even though it doesn't feel very sound to say they are scammers, and rightfully so. Again, I want to reassure these YouTubers, right, Mr. Iman, Sebastian. I still tend to butcher the third name, Graham, Mr. Graham, Graham Stefan. Okay, Graham Stefan, Graham and Jordan, right? I want to reassure you guys, you all guys are not scammers. Again, their work ethic is never the problem. When you look at Stefan Novik's video, you would see that their work ethic is the last of their problems, actually. Where their money came from is legit. Is what they did or not did or even not do currently after they got the money that's the problem. It even wasn't necessarily the problem if your business and capital is mainly invested into businesses of helping with developing good firefighting equipment, help reducing traffic accidents, or giving fair life insurance prices, because those things that do help you with living a lot. Plus, I don't think businesses need as much as 113K, 2.5 million, or even let alone 8 million to safeguard your business decently to be decently running, right? Let alone your basic sustenance, right? How much money you need to keep yourself survive decently, right? And not just like something like, okay, maybe on a technical basis, like average decently, right? Which is fair. I think people need to be decent. People need to work. That's pretty fair. I'm not gonna exploit these rich YouTubers, right? Even though I'm definitely not being very happy with them. But even if I criticize, I want to criticize reasonably, right? I think that's important. Yes, I know in USA prices are way more expensive, but even in then, like the average basic expenses in about basic food utilities and stuff, it's probably about 4.5K US dollars, right? I think most people can agree that 4.5K US dollars is not even a fraction of 13K. So I think donating or doing charitable expense, right? So yeah, this is the end of today's video. That's why I think that it's concerning that these extremely rich YouTubers pop up here and there, not because they are scammers, but because of what they did with their money after they got the money. That's what concerning me, and I think that's why it is valid for Stefanovic to and some of his viewers to be concerned as well. So this is the end of the video. This is my video for today. Thank you very much. Goodbye.